power to capture, extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifesting. The gods work like appliances, dealing in my psyche.
Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another discussion on Boruto Naruto Next Generations, the manga. And for those of you guys who are anime only fans, this is the time of the month where a lot of the content that we talk about on the channel is gonna be spoiler heavy, or if you're somebody that's read the manga and you stumble across this video, this is the time of the month where a lot of the content is a speculation, where it's a theory based on stuff that happens in the manga, and I weigh in on whether or not I think it's actually likely. So with all that being said though, if you're still here, I'm assuming that you guys are all caught up with the manga and you do not care about me talking about spoilers. So as you can tell from the title, I said that this is Naruto's biggest mistake, that the true Otsutsuki is Amado. And I want to say this right now up front, I don't think that you're in a situation where just as Jigen had Ishiki munching on his brain and it was Ishiki controlling him the entire time, I don't think you're in a situation like that. I'm not going to rule it out, but I do think this other possibility is more likely. So I still think there's a possibility that Amado's Otsutsuki, but not in the traditional way of what you saw with Jigen. I think some people are overlooking the fact that when it comes to being an Otsutsuki, you don't have to be born from the clan. You can also be somebody that's been a vessel for an Otsutsuki, and once that Otsutsuki dies and revives into another vessel, all the other karma seals end up going away, and the people that have the karma seals, essentially they've been transformed into Otsutsuki to whatever percentage the decompression process started. Well, when you look at the character of Amado, I think that's something we actually have to consider here, and there are actually quite a few reasons for it, and it would actually explain a lot of Amado's actual way of thinking on how he actually handled things. So one big thing we've seen a lot of people say is like, hey, this new Boruto's arc right now really feels like it's inspired by what you saw in Dragon Ball with the artificial human saga, where you had Dr. Gero, which, as a reminder, that's the correct way to say the name, they changed him to Dr. Gero in the actual anime. So just want to throw that out there, okay? Every time I say that, people say I say the name wrong. No, read the manga. Now, with that being said though, what I will say though is that while I see the similarities, if we do go that route, if that was something that was possible, then you would be in a situation where one of them would actually end up killing Amado if you go the Dr. Gero type of a route. However, I don't think that that's the stance that we're taking, and here's why. So when you look at Amado, Amado said that I had a daughter. Now, people such as myself for a long time said like, hey, it really feels like Delta's that daughter, and then people said, well, it could be Eida, and I've always taken the stance I don't know about that. I've always said like, hey, it could be Eida, but I don't know. I'm not necessarily on board with that, and the reason being is that when you look at this last chapter, one thing that we end up finding out is that Eida's younger brother, Damon, is the person that she referred to as being her blood relative who is immune to her abilities. And when you look at Amado never actually said like, yo, that's interesting, I have a daughter, Naruto, or I had a daughter, she died 12 years ago. I totally understand where you're coming from. Well, if that was the case, he would have mentioned like, I had a daughter and a son, but he didn't say that. He would have been able to better relate to Naruto because Naruto has a daughter and a son, so he would have been able to say like, yo, I had a daughter, I had a son, just like you have currently. My children are dead. That's not what he said right there. So I say that to say, when you look at Eida's abilities when it comes to manipulating the heart comes down to two things. Number one, you have to be a blood relative. Well, Amado doesn't hit that criteria if you go by that above mentioned knowledge. The other thing is that you have to be an Otsutsuki, and that kind of goes down to it. So Amado, if you really think about it, if Eida has that ability to sway hearts and everything, and Boro was the one stated to have hidden the actual cyborgs, Amado would have been under Eida's influence, but that's not something that was ever said. Now, it could be revealed later on. I will say that if it does get revealed that like, hey, Eida had Amado under control, then I will completely say this is absolutely off the marker. But the only reason why I even consider that is that Eida did say that Amado was a little bit dandy which means that, you know, she might have actually been able to influence him. However, that was never stated. She never stated she had Amado under her influence at any given point. And when she and Code were talking about possibilities to have Code's limiters taken off, the only suggestion that she offered was like, hey, it's going to be really hard to get those limiters off when we capture Amado, because Amado has turned his eyes into scientific ninja weapon tech. So you can't actually transform into a clone of Amado and then have the limiters taken off on that way. It has to be the actual real Amado. And Amado, when he's talking, he knows that Eida's out there, and the only thing that he says is like, I'm not built like you guys, so if they get a hold of me, if they torture me, I'll take the limiters off. He didn't even suggest the possibility of Eida, but he would know that there's a cyborg out there that can control the human heart, basically turn people into simps. So he didn't, the fact that he didn't offer that suggestion, I really feel like that's pointing in the direction of Amado actually being in Otsutsuki, because that would make more sense right there. Now, the only other thing you have to kind of look at here is that you have to actually establish how you got the karma seal, and I think that the manga's already kind of laid the groundwork for that. So if you recall, Amado said that his daughter died 12 years ago. It's very possible that Amado got that karma seal during that time period. You have to remember, Boruto's karma seal progressed at a rapid rate. In most cases, karma doesn't actually progress that way. Kawaki got karma when he was younger. He's about Boruto's age now. We don't know Kawaki's age, but it's implied, in my opinion, based on how small he was, that it was a pretty significant amount of time that passed. So you have something right there to where it is possible that Amado had that karma seal before that. But there are a few other factors you got to factor in here. Again, I don't think that this is a karma from Jigen, but there are also versions of karma out there that we don't know about. We didn't know there was a white karma seal until we actually saw Code display the karma. And our next question has to become, when did Amado potentially get that karma seal? Well, I think he might have actually gotten that karma seal during that 12-year gap where he said that his daughter died 12 years ago, which means that this would have taken place just before Boruto was born. Boruto right now in the manga is currently 12 years old. We are 16 years removed from the end of the fourth Great Ninja War. However, Boruto does not actually turn 13 until March of the next calendar year. So you have a period in time to where we don't know what happened during the actual blank period. We know what happened with the light novels up to a certain extent, but there's a pretty significant amount of time where we don't know what happened during that time. There's little small things to kind of fill in, small tidbits of information, but there's enough there to where you can actually play around with that. And I think that the Boruto mangas put the seeds there, because we know that the Otsutsuki are people that have sectors of the universe that are assigned to them and that they're supposed to harvest, and that Kaguya and Ishiki were assigned this particular sector. Well, Momoshiki started sniffing around after Boruto graduated from the academy, which is why he appeared during the Chunin exams 15 years after the fourth Great Ninja War. Well, the reason why that's so important is that means that there's a way to actually detect that. There could be somebody else who picked up on that chakra disturbance that happened in Kaguya's sector, much in the same way that Kinshiki did, that ended up coming to Earth. And I think that that's when you get the revelation that Ishiki, inhabiting the vessel of Jigen, whoever that Otsutsuki is that came to the planet looking, backed off because they ran into Jigen / Ishiki, and that was Ishiki's sector, and they backed off on that. Now, why you have a situation where Jigen didn't get involved with Momoshiki and Kinshiki, this is gonna piss a few people off. I'm just gonna be blunt right here. I honestly feel like there's gonna be a retcon that actually comes there, and this ain't nothing new with Naruto. Naruto, the big homie for Neverworld, said something just recently that I've been telling you guys for years, which is when Naruto was running weekly, Naruto caught a lot of hate back in the day. It isn't this perfect shonen where everything is preordained and already planned out down to the smallest detail like One Piece. Masashi Kishimoto didn't actually write that way. There are interviews where the guy said like, yeah, I didn't decide on this or this or this until I got to the halfway part. So I say that to say Naruto's used retcons in the past, and I think that the actual anime is giving the manga a little bit of wiggle room here, which is there ain't no love lost between Momoshiki and Ishiki, because Ishiki, as he spoke through Jigen in one of the Japanese raws for one of the earlier chapters, referred to Momoshiki as that bastard. And then when you look at how Boruto and Kawaki's karma seals resonated in the manga, Momoshiki did not actually look very pleased when he recognized Ishiki's chakra through that karma seal. So I think that there's enough there to where you could actually use that as for why Ishiki kind of played the background there to see how far Momoshiki could take things. Before I move back to the Amado point, I do just want to say this. Stuff like this does make me wish that back in 2012, when they announced that Naruto the Last was being worked on, that they would have actually taken more time and actually sat down and did a more thorough planning. And I think that they're doing a good job just based on what they're actually working with because of the circumstances. But it's because of that, due to the actual blank period that exists, that you actually have a great opportunity to utilize that with the character of Amado and actually play up with the tensions of Momoshiki and Ishiki. And that blank period is going to be something that is a great device to actually explain some of the questions that we have that are taking place in the actual Boruto manga, in particular when it comes to Amado, and you potentially have a situation where Amado could have actually gotten the karma seal during that time period, because if you have another Otsutsuki that comes down to this part of the universe that is Ishiki's sector and the guy ends up having to back off, we do know that the Otsutsuki clan does pass on their karma seal to other people, that way they can make vessels. It is possible that Amado and his child ended up getting the karma seal. The child did not actually survive getting the karma seal, but Amado ended up getting it, and that Otsutsuki, after having to leave the actual planet, ended up dying off world, which would explain why Amado was able to realize, like, oh my god, okay, so when Otsutsuki passes away, the karma seal on all the other vessels goes away. That would be something Ishiki could have confirmed. And the other thing is that Amado would be able to actually do experiments on his own body, which is how he would actually know, like, oh, okay, even though the karma seal's gone, my body still remains somewhat Otsutsuki-fied as far as for whatever percentage that takes place. Because again, whatever percentage of decompression he would have had would have been a lot lower than what Boruto got in that short time period, because Boruto, Momoshiki just got extremely lucky with Boruto in that Boruto's karma seal progressed very rapidly. And this makes even further sense when you look at a couple other factors. So there is the possibility that, given the fact that Ishiki, we know, holds some rank because Kaguya was a subordinate to him, it is possible that whatever Otsutsuki actually came to Earth to check on that sector is somebody that ranked lower than Ishiki, and so that could explain why Amado was actually working for Ishiki at this point. And because Amado's body would have had karma or some variation of karma, or at the bare minimum he had the karma seal that other Otsutsuki died, and his body was Otsutsuki-fied up to a certain percentage, that would explain why he wouldn't know as much as he did, because he was serving Ishiki under that right there. And it would also, if it has something to do with this child, also explain why Amado seems to have some type of anger towards the Otsutsuki clan. That is something where you could kind of play with that a little bit if that was a route that you chose to take. And I think that it also kind of opens the door for something else here. Again, I've always said Amado really fits the mold of the type of villain that you would have in Boruto. Boruto's a story about science as well as aliens, because Naruto's manga, the last 2 volumes, made it abundantly clear we were going to be dealing with aliens. But you have science, you have aliens and ninjas, and you're trying to find out where science and ninja actually fit in together. Well, Amado is a scientist. Amado uses very specific words. He didn't say, I hypothesize that I can give you a new karma. He flat out said, I can give you another karma that will allow you to actually access Ishiki's powers. He would not have actually said that unless he had some type of proof of it. It wouldn't be a guess like that. And so my guess in this instance is that after that Otsutsuki gave Amado that karma seal, after that Otsutsuki passed away and he ran those tests on himself, that's when Amado, between that and whatever information Ishiki felt comfortable sharing with them, Amado was able to piece all that information together. And I think that that's why Amado felt as comfortable playing the dangerous game of Among Us that he did with Ishiki, because Amado was lining up all of those chess pieces and we just don't know what his actual end game is. That's the next thing. That's why I compared him to Sasuke Aizen. We know from the Bleach series, it's like, oh, Aizen's a captain, he's so nice and kind-hearted, and it's like, oh, he gets killed, that totally sucks, and then Aizen's in hiding for a little bit, and then when he comes back out, it's like, oh my god, Aizen's a villain, oh my god, Aizen wants to kill the Soul King. We could be in a very similar situation like this with the character of Amado. We don't know when he's gonna pull that trigger or why. That's the next step with that character. However, I want to know from you guys, what do you guys think about this possibility? Let me know what you think about my thoughts that Amado potentially got the Karma Seal during the actual blank period from another Otsutsuki that was lower ranked from Ishiki. Could that be why we actually saw 2 extra Otsutsuki symbols in that dimension that Sasuke went to? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.